What does it take for an entire federal prison to jackknife from routine to chaos in under 60 seconds? At 4 a.m. on June 13th, a single siren sliced through Butner, and guards sprinted towards cell C-112. They found Robert Kelly, or R. Kelly, limp, lips chalk white, a pill half jammed in his throat. Before the compound could even blink, an ambulance was tearing down I-85. Keep watching, because the siren was only the opening note in a much darker song. At 4:03 a.m., a tier officer peers through the plexiglass and freezes. Kelly's 6-foot frame hangs off the bunk like a puppet with its strings cut. He radios, code 99, unresponsive male, C-112. Control center klaxons howl. Backup teams arrive in under 90 seconds with an AED, oxygen kit, and Narcan that never gets used because no opioid is detected. Crash cart notes, now Exhibit A in court filings, show vitals flatlining, pulse in the low 40s, blood pressure scraping 60-40. A nurse scrawls suspected OD in red, slaps on oxygen, and orders an immediate gurney run. But the hallway outside C block is narrow, so officers wrestle the cot sideways, losing a critical 41 seconds. While medics hustle him through the sally port, one rookie gasps, "Why here again?" A sour nod to the fact that Butner logs more inmate deaths than any other federal complex. The ambulance rockets out exactly 4:11 a.m. Sirens bouncing off razor wire. En route telemetry shows his oxygen saturation plummeting to 78%, prompting a 2-liter bolus and a frantic call ahead to Duke. Nobody on that rig can explain how a single pill line spiraled into a full-blown pulmonary crisis. Talk about a hard cell to swallow. High beams sliced toward Durham while paramedics fought sliding vitals. Duke University Hospital prepped its trauma bay, expecting a stroke patient, not a celebrity convict. Scans under fluorescent glare reveal pepper-shot clots drifting in both lungs and fresh blockages lurking behind the knees. Surgeons debated emergency removal, yet oxygen finally inched upward. For 48 hours, machines breathed for him, but just as stability felt possible, a new threat rolled through the ICU doors. Armed officers with transfer papers. Yet what doctors discovered about the pills was even scarier. For years, Kelly relied on a daily oral anticoagulant. Court filings identify it as the direct-acting blood thinner, apixaban, to tame a hereditary clotting disorder. Yet sometime between March and May 2025, prison clinicians abruptly discontinued the drug. When the singer begged for help with a calf that had ballooned like a football, staff told him they were no longer authorized to give blood thinners. Late on June 12th, a guard slid a blister card through Kelly's solitary cell slot. The Electronic Medication Administration record, MAR, listed one nighttime tablet for anxiety. The card allegedly held 10, a lethal quantity, his lawyer says. Duke University toxicology later logged sedative and anti-anxiety serum levels far beyond therapeutic limits, a detail Brindley highlighted in his Tuesday filing. The trap was sprung. No anticoagulant to keep clots at bay, and enough central nervous system depressant to leave him motionless for hours. Around 4 a.m., June 13th, he woke faint, dizzy, and seeing black spots, crawled to the door, and blacked out. Events echoed in EMT notes and the latest CBS News summary. Doctors at Duke did a scan. They saw 2 big clots in the leg and many tiny clots in the lungs. The doctors gave blood thinner medicine and set up a surgery to remove the clots. Their discharge note, now attached to the court record, reads bluntly, "Medication error, overdose precipitated pulmonary embolism." Defense lawyers argue the overdose wasn't an error at all, pointing to a June 12 cart log with no second nurse signature. That omission violates a BOP program statement, which requires pharmacist or RN co-signature and quarterly review of every dispensing error. To cap it off, schematic maps filed by experts show the B-block pill line hallway, where Kelly got the blister pack, is one of only 3 interior stretches at Butner not covered by CCTV. His team calls it the perfect blind spot for tampering. And just when treatment seemed to be working, armed officers appeared. 48 hours into Kelly's ICU stay, Duke specialists had penciled him in for a Monday morning thrombectomy, standard play when CT scans show clots prowling the lungs. Yet barely an hour after the booking, 6 officers in Kevlar marched in with rifles slung low and a handwritten security transfer order. A pulmonologist protested that moving an anticoagulated patient could shake loose fresh emboli. A charge nurse begged for 48 more hours. Both were overruled on the spot. According to the new court filing, hospital staff watched in disbelief as the heparin drip was capped, the heart monitor leads yanked, and the singer, still woozy on sedatives, was hustled into a bare-bones prison van, not a medical ambulance. No oxygen tanks, no gurney, just cuffs, ankle chains, and a seatbelt that barely clicked. One officer allegedly muttered, "We've got bigger clots to fry," as doors slammed. Kelly's lawyers say they were left in the dark. A scheduled phone call vanished from the inmate roster, and their client resurfaced in solitary at Butner, with IV tape still on his arms and surgical consent forms unsigned. Bureau spokespeople later told reporters the extraction was routine security protocol, but refused to answer why medical advice was ignored. 2 pages of Duke discharge notes, now Exhibit D in the emergency motion, state plainly, premature removal against medical advice, elevated risk for pulmonary embolism or stroke. Brinley calls the midnight ride a damn jailbreak in reverse. Talk about pulling the plug. This exit was more jailbreak than checkout, and the aftershock was just beginning. Hours after Kelly's ICU discharge, his legal team lobbied a 27-page third supplement to their emergency motion, and this one names names. Front and center is a sworn declaration from inmate Mikael Glenn Stein, a prolific jailhouse litigant who says North Carolina officials transferred him from Arizona last winter with one chilling request: help Bureau of Prisons brass finish R. Kelly. Stein claims he was offered protection, commissary favors, and a phone to coordinate with an Aryan Brotherhood shot caller already inside Butner. In his statement, Stein writes that a lieutenant bragged, "No cameras cover the pill line, make it look like an accident." Kelly's lawyers say that after Stein blew the whistle in early June, prison staff abruptly yanked the singer off doctor-ordered blood thinners, setting the stage for the clot crisis Duke doctors documented 3 days later. The supplement argues that flooding Kelly with a 10 times dose of sedatives and anticoagulant on June 12th wasn't malpractice. It was step 1 of a slow kill. A second declaration, this one from an alleged Aryan Brotherhood lieutenant whose name is redacted for safety, states the gang was promised reduced disciplinary points if the high-profile target didn't survive June. He describes being shown a contraband photo of Kelly's cell to plan the timing. Government attorneys fired back within 24 hours, labeling the theory repugnant fiction, but they did not specifically deny that officials had approached white supremacist inmates. Instead, they argued that moving Kelly to solitary showed an effort to protect him, not kill him. Kelly's team counters that the timeline speaks louder. Stein's affidavit goes public on June 10th. Kelly is taken off blood thinners on June 11th. He collapses from an overdose June 13th. And on June 15th, armed officers drag him out of a hospital that recommended immediate clot removal surgery. Attorney Bo Brindley calls the string of events a blueprint for state-sanctioned homicide. Whether the court buys that claim will hinge on pharmacy logs, surveillance gaps around the pill line, and testimony from Stein and the unnamed gang leader. Evidence now slated for a July 9th evidentiary hearing. And if those logs show tampering, the next chapter could put more than one badge on the witness stand. Life in solitary shrinks to a 7x12 concrete rectangle. Kelly spends 23 hours a day alone, with 1 hour allotted for a fenced-in dog run they call the yard. Guards report he paces laps, humming melodies only he can hear. He's battled hypertension since sentencing, compounded by chronic sleep deprivation. 3 prior fainting spells were documented in 2024. Each chalked up to stress and malnutrition. Add a mega dose of potent meds, and the risk curve spikes. Fellow inmates gossip that he'd sunk into an edge-of-the-cliff mindset weeks before the incident. Yet he maintained to counselors, "I'm a survivor. 9 lives, remember?" Meanwhile, the outside world was already taking sides. Within hours, hashtag Free R. Kelly again trended beside hashtag Justice for Victims. Tabloids screamed singer OD'd, while pundits debated whether he deserved sympathy. Some fans flooded comment sections with prayer hand emojis. Critics fired back with fire emojis and the word karma. Clickbait channels milked every rumor, alleging everything from intentional poisoning to self-harm. Never mind that hospital records show no self-inflicted injuries. The noise reached such a fever pitch that prison officials temporarily shut down the facility's phone lines after copycat threats bombarded the switchboard. And as lawyers went back to court, the stakes climbed even higher. The emergency motion seeks home detention under constant surveillance, citing credible risk of lethal harm. Prosecutors counter that Kelly remains a flight risk and a danger, labeling his overdose claim a master manipulation designed to escape accountability. A federal judge set a July 9th evidentiary hearing, ordering an independent medical review and authorizing a special master to inspect pharmacy logs. If the review confirms intentional tampering, heads could roll inside the bureau. If not, the singer will remain in the same solitary cell where the saga began, clinging to wellness by millimeter increments, which leaves one haunting question hanging in the air. So was that pre-dawn emergency the result of catastrophic negligence, or the opening move in a slow burn plot to silence a fallen icon for good? Each affidavit tightens the knot. Every medical note muddies the water, and one undeniable fact remains. A man who once ruled the charts now counts victories by the beat of a fragile pulse. Your turn. Was this a bureaucratic nightmare or a calculated takedown? Sound off below, because until July 9th cracks this case wide open, the truth stays locked behind the same steel doors as the singer himself. So until the truth finally takes wing, the singer who once declared, "I believe I can fly," can only wait to see whether justice hands him wings or keeps him grounded for good. Please like and subscribe if you like the vibes by Clyde.